Hello everyone and welcome to Cinderful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the Grey. Today's video, we're going to talk The Court of the Blind King by David Guymer. And our Black Library reviews, as always, I like to talk a little bit about the audiobooks as well, and especially this one narrated by Mark Elstob, who I think does a fantastic job in this story of bringing the characters to life, providing some really great voice acting throughout the story to create true dimension to the characters and really make each of them seem and sound unique. Now, in this, we're going to go through the story, we're going to talk a little bit about what I liked and the things I think the book does well and who might like this particular book, along with talking a little bit about the main character. So let's get cracking on into it. Now the story, deep beneath the oceans of Garan, in kingdoms forgotten by gods and time and overlooked by the ravages of chaos, the Ardeneth Deepkin endure in bitter solitude. However, the Jade Throne of Briomda sits empty, its long isolation threatened as never before in its history. The Everqueen's war song has awakened the forests of both land and sea, and everywhere the diseased knights of Nurgle fight to the last photed breath for the verdant realm they claim as theirs. But for Prince Lurien, this time of peril is one ripe with opportunity. It will take every drop of wit, guile, and treachery the prince has to overcome not only the myriad foes of the Ardeneth, but his fellow Deepkin as well. And so, this story's purpose. This story actually came out before the Realmslayer audio. I haven't had the time to actually listen to this. I never got the chance to get around to this one. But this is really a deep dive into the Ardeneth Deepkin. It shows us the realms of the Deepkin, how they sort of live in this isolation, taking in great detail time to show us both their social structure, the mannerisms of the creatures themselves, society, and even faith in times as well. But it also gives us a great look into how such an army works in the lore and helps make that tabletop aesthetic that I guess can be a little bit jarring at times for people not in the know with the lore, how it sort of all works and makes sense on the tabletop as well, which I think is a fantastic part for the story to have. Like, we get a look and we get explanations on how things like the Aether Sea work, how Deepkin come to be riding turtles and eels and seahorses on land and all of that, how the water sort of works and how, this Aether Sea works as a whole. And so our main character of the story, this is Prince Lurien, a deposed prince and deposed heir of the Ardeneth Deepkin and of Briomda, where our story is sort of set. Prince Lurien is interesting. He's, someone who's grown up in a royal birth. He's adopted into the Queen's family, but he is quickly at the start of the story sort of deposed of his place and his rightful sort of ascension to the rank of King of Briomda, and the story pretty much follows him sort of trying to get back his throne. And so, over the course of the story, I guess, what changes about Prince Lurien? Well, like I said, at the start of the story, he's very much, this prince who's had everything handed to him. He's sort of been given everything. He's, that, I guess, typical sort of rich boy snob who has no real life experience. And throughout the course of the story, we read and listen to him going and getting said experience. Going and fighting in wars, learning to be a diplomat, learning to work and, play, I guess, the Game of Thrones as well. Learning all this sort of stuff that makes him a king throughout the story. He needs all these different skills, and we learn about him and we get to see these sort of changes and growth happen within the character throughout the story. And so, what does this book do? Well, for me, the big thing here is it shows that Ardeneth culture coming through. It shows what the Ardeneth Deepkin are all about. I mean, I've written here, it shows the Ardeneth culture in all its quotation marks glory. And that's because they really aren't a nice race of elves. Like, they are much more dark elf than they are high elf, very much so. Almost sort of wood elf in their capriciousness, in their ability to sort of backstab and betray. They're not friendly towards each other at all. They're definitely not a unified people, even within their own sort of culture. And, having the serf, the thrall class, and having the Achelians, the sort of noble class, as well as these two distinct parts of the faction are really interesting because it shows, this disconnect, and it shows how having such a curse as the soullessness of, 99 out of 100 of their children is, so you know, just such a terrible thing to have happen to a race, and it clearly has affected them and how they sort of view and see the world. These terrible curses have obviously affected the Deepkin. And so, who would like this book though? And I think it's pretty self-explanatory to expect. If you like the Idoneth Deepkin, if you want to learn more about the Idoneth Deepkin, if you want to see more of the Idoneth Deepkin, then this story is for you. It is such a good look into the faction. I think this is very much one of those stories where if you're into a faction, this is the story to go to, much like I would recommend Gloomspite to any Gloomspite Gits player, or I would recommend, you know, various other stories from other factions to other players. You know, if you want to see like the Soulblight Gravelords, then you can certainly find some stories that are suited to them. Same with Sylvaneth and all of that. You definitely have these stories, and this is certainly the one for Idoneth Deepkin to go have a look at. And so, in summary, like, this was a really good story. With, you know, while maybe not wholly likable characters. I mean, it is hard to like the Idoneth Deepkin as characters. They're not nice people. But they do have strong characters within it, with clear motivations, clear sort of ideals and you know, endpoints. And I think if you want a good read or listen and you want to find out more about the Idoneth Deepkin, this is certainly a story for you. Like, it is a good story. It has, you know, strong depth, lots of bits and pieces thrown in, which don't take up an awful lot of time. Like, it chops and changes in location and makes for a really nice, good pacing to the story. In all, it's about 10 hours long, which is pretty short for a Black Library publication. Normally 12 to 14 hours is about the average. But this was really good. Like, if you want to need or listen to find out what happens more, it, you know, is that sort of story that just you read a chapter and then you'll read the next one and you'll read the next one, because there's a lot going on. The moving pieces are really fun. I thoroughly enjoyed this. If you've had a checkout of this story, or if you've had a listen, or if you've got some ideas, or you've got some questions about it, let us know down in the comments below. Well, that's the end of the video. We hope you all enjoyed. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and also drop a comment down below letting us know what you enjoyed about the video. If you'd like to come chat more with me and other members of our little community here at Cinderful Gaming, we have a Discord server which is linked down in the video's description. Also linked down in the video's description are the best ways to help support the channel, either by Patreon, YouTube members, or by grabbing yourself some merch from either our Ko-fi or Teespring stores. All of those things are linked down in the video's description. As a special thank you to everyone who does support us via Patreon and YouTube members, we'd like to give you all a shout out. So thank you to our Patreons: Christian Weir, Soren, Kenny Lowe, Outer and Shot First, Andrew Bowen, The Rising 8, Pure Dynamic, Anthony B, JJ Austrian, Average Wargamer, Domir, Mark Harvey, James Cater, Benjamin Swallows, Red Martin, Iron Grinch, Nicholas Conomos, Colorblind Magic, Daniel Everington, and Andy C. And to our YouTube members: Green Roots Gaming, Ronya, Lock Lorick, The Johnny84, David Ellsworth, Wolfric Nick, Broken Chef, Ariana Edwards, Revenar, Pink Nico Fire, Robin Mankiller, Monty Tabletop Terrain, John Castle, Davis Weir, James South, James Tillman, Dylan Marino, Gargamel 196, and Disco. Thank you all so much for your support, and special shout out to Lady Witchfox Art, who does all the amazing artwork for the channel, and to everyone who helps run the channel, whether that be on the Discord server as our mods, on our live stream mods, or the guys that come around and help provide the battle reports for you all to watch. Thank you all once again, everyone. Stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the Grey. Ciao for now.